What is up, CMS Braves? Happy Monday, a snowy Monday. As you're coming into school today, you probably noticed there's snow on the ground. So that is an interesting development. Mr. Congleton and I made it to school safe today, though. Nothing too terrible, and we're ready to get started this week. And an interesting week it will be. Isn't that right, Mr. Congleton?
Oh, sure. We only have 2 days on the schedule, the last 2 days of the quarter. And then we've got parent conferences or whatever version of parent conferences we're having this time. So the last 2 days of the quarter. So make sure you guys are checking your grades, checking Skyward, figuring out what assignments are in Skyward, and then getting those in and emailing Mr. Stack or myself. We've been saying that we're a broken record. We've been saying this for the last 2 weeks, and that's the way it goes with our class, other classes. So, just take care of business. We've got fairly easy week this week. We got those 2 days, and today we're going to read about George Washington. Okay, we all know George Washington, first president on the dollar bill, but he wasn't the president until after the Articles of Confederation. So we had a few years as a country with no president, and then he was like this general that led the troops during the Revolutionary War. So he was always around, always somebody that they looked up to, and so once they decided that we need to have an executive branch and a president, he won unanimously. He was one that was chosen by everybody. Like, he was the obvious choice. And so that was a good thing. He went his terms, and then when his terms were over, he walked away. So he didn't want to be another king. He helped develop the idea of once you've finished your 2 terms or your 8 years, if you make it that far, that's it. Okay, we're not going to try to stay in power if we're not voted by the people. So that's one of the precedents, the examples that he said. And keep in mind, everything that George Washington did was the first. So every decision he made, and how he acted as president was something that we're going to emulate throughout the 45 presidents that we've had since. So pretty interesting. The reading's pretty common. I'm just going to read it. It's from the whitehouse.gov. And then answer the questions either in the Google Doc or on Cami.
Yeah, George Washington was a pretty cool guy. So he's an interesting one to read about. But guys, like to echo what Mr. Congleton said, to be even more of a broken record, conferences are coming up. Please get your grades in. Honestly, Mr. Congleton and I, believe it or not, don't really enjoy calling your parents and saying, hey, little, Billy is missing all of his grades, and then your parents are mad at you, and then it's awkward for us because we're like, oh yeah, they get that, and just get your stuff in so we can call and be like, hey, they're doing a great job. We love having them in class. They're getting their stuff done. Model student, okay. Those are the conferences that we like to have because those are the ones.
They need to make sure that they are the George Washington of students. How about that?
Right. Be that way, yep. Because we like having those conferences. I'm sure you like getting those reports, and I know your parents like getting those reports. So let's just make it easier on everybody and get our stuff turned in, making sure that our progress reports are pristine. All right. So that's it for today, guys. Remember, you got today and tomorrow, and then you get a real nice long weekend. Okay. So really hammer it down these next 2 days. Get your stuff turned in so you can really enjoy that long weekend. All right. Guys, thanks for joining us. As always, be excellent to each other.